don't even have my headset on. Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, it might help if I hit the button and then I didn't even have my headset on.
Nice.
Yeah, you could tell that I'm right on top of things. This is Beacon of... What number are we on? Beacon of Speech 6?
6 or 7.
Yeah, something like that. Welcome to Beacon of Speech. I don't know why I hit the button for. What is Beacon of Speech about? We're selling freedom of speech to everyone. If I had a copy of the First Amendment, I hold it up to the camera. Do we have a camera yet, Ted?
No, not that I know of.
No, my hair looks like crap. I shaved half my beard. My shaver caught fire. You know that smell of hair burning?
Oh, man.
So that's why I only have a goatee today. Half the beard is gone and the rest is all goatee, which is all very pleasant.
So it caught fire?
It smelled like it caught fire. It didn't catch fire. There wasn't flames shooting out of it. But freedom of speech is under constant assault in America today. The problem is that it's coming from two places that's very hard to fight. From the left, PC madness. From the right, corporations. The concept that we're all in this together is lost in America. America is supposed to lead by example, not force its will on other countries. What are limits to free speech? Pure evil. Evil is debatable. Pure evil is absolute. Like it or not, a lot of the Constitution is based on vague Christian principles. There is a God, just unclear over which religious entities have the correct message. Does that sound right?
Sounds good to me.
Does that sound like the same spiel I always give?
Mm-hmm. It sounded familiar.
Yeah, it sounds vaguely familiar.
It rang a bell.
I'm looking, it seems like we're a little low on the mix, and I'm trying to fix my headset because I jumped the gun, again with the itchy trigger finger. I want to move this so I don't accidentally erase it. I'd episode number 2 that I erased, which I'm still pissed off about.
I think that was some of our best work, too.
yeah. If you want to hear good work, go back and listen to episode 2, the one that we erased. That's in the ether somewhere. But yeah, we got the introduction out of the way. Hey, it's Joe Kaufman. I'm Fred Hunt. Across the table from me is Ted Coley. And Joe Kaufman, he's our helper. Yay, Joe!
Hi.
Beacon of Speech. Number 1, I owe Ted Coley an apology. Beacon of Speech last week was canceled because I had the cold or flu and my voice was just shredded. What did I sound like, Joe Kaufman?
You're talking like this.
I sounded like I was a 14-year-old going through puberty.
Peter Brady.
Yeah, Peter Brady. I was one of the Brady Bunch episode. So, so that was a great time had by all. And because we didn't do it, I'm all mixed up because I had stuff for last week. I had some stuff for this week. And everything's in a mishmash. So the first thing we want to talk about is I always do how freedom of speech is under attack first. And every show that we watch in the whole world this week is talking about ISIS in France. And you know what bothered me most this week? It wasn't even ISIS. I know ISIS should bother me, but that's what they do. They bomb people and break stuff.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, this guy really rubs me the wrong way.
I thought that said Hugh Hefner.
No, his name is Hugh Herr. And he says he's one of the great leaders. Every week I bring in a magazine and I got some sort of something up my butt about this, a magazine article. This is from Popular Science. I was reading a science magazine, right? Now, Hugh Herr, he's a genius, okay? And as you can see, he doesn't have any legs. He's got bionic legs that he built himself.
$1 million man.
Hugh Herr, when he was 17 years old, you can read the article if you want, Joe. You can take a look. When he was 17 years old, he was climbing a mountain and he caught severe frostbite and he had to have his legs amputated. Right? Which is horrible. It's horrible, deplorable. But then I thought back to when I was 17 years old. Joe Kaufman, when you were 17, would you be caught dead on a mountain?
I couldn't afford to go to a mountain.
Ted, would you go to a mountain?
No, I'm like Joe. I didn't have enough money to go anywhere.
So
All I did when I was 17, all I did was work. Because I had bills to pay.
Yeah, you were working when you were 17. I think I was playing soccer and I was working. What were you doing when you were 17?
Working.
Working.
I mean, I barely had a car.
Yeah. So all I can think of when I'm reading this article is how in the hell did this guy climb a mountain at 17? How did he raise what? How much does it cost to climb a mountain? $50,000, $100,000? It's something crazy because there's no mountains here.
No.
You have to get to the mountain.
You gotta get all your gear there.
You got to get your gear there, and he didn't climb the mountain by himself. I assume he's climbing with Uncle Joe or Uncle Frank or whatever. So anyhow, he's on the mountain. He lost both of his legs, right, with severe frostbite. And he said he knew then that he wanted to build a better legs, right? Well, then I was upset because I'm reading it and I'm like, well, you know what? You turn a tragedy into something good. That's noble, right, Ted?
Yeah.
Well, what did he do once he built better legs?
Went climbing again.
He went back on the mountain and said, I want to go climb another mountain.
So did he lose his hands or?
He built better. What do you call it?
Yeah, he built better legs so he could climb more
Yeah,
mountains.
the ones that actually you can stick into the rock and like climb up it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a hook. There.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
So
I think I saw something about that once.
So he bought accessories so he could climb the mountains.
So he's like go gadget.
Yeah, like he's a go gadget go. Yeah. But so
Inspector Gadget.
the first part of the article I was inspired, but all I could think of is where did you get the money? And then after he built the bionic legs, the go gadget legs, he's like, I'm going back up the mountain. Ted, if a mountain took your 2 legs, would you ever go back on a mountain?
No, I would stand there and give that mountain the finger.
Yeah, I would stand at the bottom. I would not go near another mountain in my life. It's like, oh no, I want to go back on the mountain. I'm going to climb some more. Now, his contribution to society is much greater than mine, right? So I can't argue with that. I never built bionic legs. I never did anything. But other than the bionic legs, what does climbing a mountain do? You know what I mean? It doesn't help society. And granted, he helps other people climb mountains, but climbing mountains doesn't really get you anywhere in life. It's not like he climbed the mountain to do a survey to find oil, or he climbed the mountain to, save some sort of rare mountain flower. He climbed the mountain because he was bored.
Yeah, some people enjoy that.
Yeah. Well, that doesn't get you into popular science.
Yeah, but some people have different things that they like, different hobbies.
There is no way you would ever get me on the mountain if I lost both my legs doing that.
No.
And you'd be like, oh, Fred, you got in a car accident, right? If I got in a car accident and I lost my legs, I wouldn't be driving around anymore.
Really?
I'd be like, well, I guess I'm not driving anymore.
You wouldn't drive around if something happens and you lost your legs?
I wouldn't drive around for fun.
Well, who really drives around for fun? I don't want to drive around for
No.
fun. I have both my legs.
Yeah.
It's not like my hobby is to go drive around in my car.
And then it bothered me about myself because I read this article and all I could think about was 99 out of 100 people are reading about this guy saying how great he is, and I'm the one guy who says, that guy's a jackass.
Yeah, he's something else.
Well, am I wrong? Or it's only a short article. It's only 1 page. I'm sure he's a nice guy. If he was here, he'd have a cup of tea and he'd tell you about when he climbed Kilimanjaro. Or what's the new word?
Said, well, you know what he says now? He says if his biological foot broke off, he would just go to the repair shop, and in a day he would have a new foot.
So he treats his foot like a spare tire. How is that admirable? I want to write dumbass on his forehead.
Maybe next time he'll lose his head, huh?
Yeah, what happens if a rock falls on his head? Would he replace it with a robot head? Maybe you weren't meant to be on a mountain. But it just reminded me about when I was a kid. Number one, I didn't want to climb a mountain. But number two, I had no wherewithal. 99 out of 100 kids don't have the wherewithal to be taken to a mountain and climb it.
Mm-hmm.
What's the McKinley? What's the new word for McKinley in Alaska? Didn't they just change it now?
Yeah.
It's
I think,
Denali.
Something like that.
And it's like that's we live in Ohio. The closest mountain we could climb would be either Denali in Washington, right? Because that's the tallest one in North America, or like Olympia or Mount St. Helens, which are smaller ones in Washington.
Yeah.
But there's no way when I was 17 I could have got to Washington.
I climbed the mountain.
Did you really?
Yeah, on my honeymoon. I was gonna push my wife right off at the top. Oh yeah, we went down to the Carolinas. We went up on what do you call it, Appalachian Mountains.
Oh, I
climbed
forgot
a
about
couple.
the Appalachians.
We climbed a couple because we had nothing else to do.
Those aren't real mountains. You're not going to get frostbite on those.
Those aren't real mountains, but they're still mountains.
That'd be funny.
It's not like it's a 20,000 foot mountain.
You know, that would be a good story, though, if you went and you climbed one of the Appalachian Mountains with your wife, and then she froze her legs off, and then you're like, oh, yeah, it was a great honeymoon until she froze her legs off in the Appalachians, and then people look at you like, how'd you freeze your legs off in the Appalachians?
Yeah. Then I'd be stuck with a wife with no legs. And what, I'd push around in a wheelchair all day.
That's awesome. Well, he would build her new feet.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I could talk to this douche.
Yeah. Now, if your wife needed new legs, would she ever go back on a mountain again?
Probably not.
No.
No.
No, because no sane person would go back on a mountain and once they got their legs lopped off.
Yeah. She didn't even want to go then.
That's romantic. I didn't know that you went to...
Well, there's nothing else to do up there.
What do you mean there's nothing else to do?
There's mountains.
You buy
mountains and hunting.
You're supposed to buy the Kama Sutra.
Yeah.
And then...
Makes me think of that guy who lost his arm. What was that, in Utah?
Oh, yeah, where he got stuck in the rock and he
Yeah.
cut his own arm off.
Yeah, well, yeah, I felt bad for that guy because...
Why? He basically did the same thing.
Yeah, but he was walking around. Anything could happen, like in a park. I understand walking around in a park. There's parks all over the place.
He was climbing the little edge rock part or whatever, and his hand, a rock slipped and fell into his hand.
Yeah.
So he should have been climbing where he was climbing.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know.
He cut his own arm off. Just think of that.
And how do you have a big enough knife to do that?
I don't know. I didn't he use like a pocket knife
Yeah,
or
it's
something?
like a pocket knife. You imagine that? Like you're sitting there, you're cutting through your bone with the pocket knife.
Talking about cutting your arm off with a pocket knife, did you do that on your honeymoon when you woke up? Did you try and do that to
Try to
escape?
chop her head off.
Pocket knife.
The pocket knife.
So that I don't know why that's been bothering me so much.
No, this guy?
Yeah, do you have a theory of why I have mental illness? Why that guy bothers me so much?
He just seems like an arrogant prick. Like you lose your feet because you go climb a mountain, and you're like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna go build myself new legs, and I'm gonna go do it again.
I want to know where he has money to, like he's got to be smart, right?
Yeah.
But even if you're a smart guy, you would have to have some sort of access to like titanium and stuff to build new legs, right?
I'm sure his parents are rich. He was climbing mountains at age what? 17?
Yeah.
16?
Yeah, I suppose.
I don't know. Should have Googled them.
Well, that's the whole thing. I'm reading the article, and for every sentence that I read, it was like two more questions popped into my head. And it's like, you know what? For some reason, I just couldn't like take it as it was just a nice story. And that's why I feel bad, because I'm like, nobody reads popular science to like be angry. And that's why I was like, oh yeah, and this was the other article was
Maybe you just got issues.
maybe he does.
No, you.
Oh yeah, I got issues. Why do you think I'm doing a webcast?
What's this?
Oh yeah, that was the other article that I wanted to talk about from Popular Science today. And like I said, I don't know why Popular Science. It was 10
Fraction. We only use a fraction of our
10
brain.
10 myths about the brain. We'll hand it to Ted and he'll read them to us. Read number 1. What's myth number? Because I already read the article. Myth number 1 about the brain. This was the other article that bothered me. It's this one right here. All you have to do is read the first sentence.
Oh, what? We use only a fraction of our brains?
Yeah, that's the myth. When you read the whole thing, it says that in truth we use most of our brains. They say we only use 10% of our brains. According to Popular Science, they said we use. The problem is we don't use our whole brain at the whole time.
Your brain's separated.
Yeah,
Different parts of your brain do different.
Yeah, different
functions.
part. But while you're doing stuff, different parts of your brain light up. So you use 90% of your brain. 90% of your brain isn't asleep. It just bounces from different parts, and that was myth number 1.
So these are all myths.
These are all myths that you always thought was true. So you read the sentence and then I'll tell you.
Myth number 2: playing classical music to infants makes them smarter.
Yeah, that's not true.
Oh, I wouldn't think that would be true anyways, because how would it make it smarter?
Yeah, how can you measure that?
Stupidest thing I ever heard.
Yeah, so they said that what it does, again, it stimulates different parts of your brain, but it doesn't make the kid smarter. You know what I mean? They said maybe if he was a smart kid, he would have been a smart kid anyhow. You can't measure the effects, and they said that they haven't found anything that classical music does anything different than if you let them listen to, Britney Spears.
Or heavy metal.
Or heavy metal. Oh!
So what would be the difference? All that is noise to them.
My wife came home one day when my kid was like 2, right?
Yeah.
And I was listening to Strapping Young Lad,
Yeah.
which is like speed metal, and my
Yeah.
wife's like, "Why are you listening to that with the baby here?" And I'm like, she don't know no better.
Yeah.
It's not
You know
like
what it
I
is.
got headphones on her. It's just on in the background. What's number 3, Ted?
Number 3: adults can't grow new brain cells.
They said that's true. They said that I'm sorry.
They say so. In other words, you can't.
You can
Well, that's good news.
grow brain cells, but the problem is you can't grow like as many as you kill.
Oh, so I killed a lot.
Yeah, so if you kill a lot of brain cells, because every time you learn something new, like you guys learned about the guy with the bionic leg, right?
Yeah.
I already forgot about that.
Okay, we'll ignore you, Ted. That grew 2 new brain cells, 2 new traffic spots in your head because you learned something.
Yeah.
So as you learn something, you're making new cells and new paths, but not very many. What's the number 4
So
myth?
by the time I die, I should be back to normal now?
Yeah, by the time you die.
In the afterlife, you'll be back.
Well, I think what happens, it's kind of like this place.
Yeah.
Where, you lose so many customers and you get 1 and it doesn't matter. Well, you lose so many brain cells and you grow 2 or 3.
No, it's like dropping a penny in the well.
Yeah, it's dropping a penny. It literally is doing nothing.
Thanks.
What's number 4?
Number 4: male brains are biologically better suited for math and science. Female brains for empathy.
Yeah, that was a myth. That wasn't true, but I forgot that one.
I thought females have smaller brains.
No,
That's a joke.
What's myth number 5?
Being in a coma is like being asleep. You wake up intact and well rested.
No, they said being in a coma is like miserable. They said it's not like you're having happy dreams. It's like you're screwed and your brain's not working right and you wake up all
Getting hurt.
discombobulated and
Well, that's good to know because I was really hoping I would end up in a coma one day.
what's
like-
number 6?
For like 5 years. Take a nice 5-year nap.
Number 6: doing crossword puzzles improves memory.
Yeah, that's the funniest myth of them all because it says, they said doing crossword puzzles, you know what it does for you? You know what it does for you, Ted?
Pisses you off.
It makes you good at crossword puzzles. They said it literally has no crossover. They said it's always better to do something than nothing, but it doesn't do anything for your brain. It just makes you better at crossword puzzles. What was number 7?
Students learn best when teaching styles match their learning styles.
Yeah, they said that that's natural, but if you change the teaching styles, some kids, it's kind of a wash where some kids, it doesn't matter what way you teach them. And sometimes if you match them, that doesn't work either. They say there is no hard and fast rule.
So basically, dumb people just can't be taught anything.
Yeah, dumb people aren't going to learn, and smart people, if they're smart, they'll...
And if you're mediocre, you're mediocre.
Yeah. I mean, they said there is no rule of thumb. If you change it one way, there is no fix-all. There is no right way to teach kids.
Yeah, if they're not going to get it, they're not going to get it.
Right. What was number 8?
Drinking alcohol kills brain cells.
They said that is true, but...
You said it right there now. What's it
No, if you could read the whole thing. It says, granted, it does kill brain cells, but... Oh, go ahead. I'll let you look it over. There was a big but in the article. Because later in the
high doses.
yeah, it's got to be high doses. If you drink wine with your meal,
So when you're like me and you drink like a case of beer on the weekends, you're kind of screwed.
Yeah, if you drink a case. So basically, say you have a wine with dinner, it doesn't kill brain cells. It's basically the argument of moderation.
What if you have that bottle of wine during dinner?
Yeah, the bottle of wine, you kill brain cells. If you're working outside and you're cutting the grass, you might smell some gasoline. Well, it's not going to kill brain cells. Well, if you go in the garage and you huff gasoline, it's going to kill brain cells. It's the same principle with drinking.
Yeah.
If you go and binge drink, it's going to kill brain cells. If you just are moderate about everything else, it doesn't.
I killed a lot of brain cells then.
So yeah, the but is moderation. And then what's 9?
Number 9. We know what you're thinking. ESP is a scientific certainty.
Yeah, they said ESP is not true. They said that it's it may be true, but they can't prove it. And it's so obscure that it's not even worth spending money on. That they haven't found anybody who's really good at ESP. And then what's 10?
Number 10. Some people are left-brained, logical, and some people are right-brained, creative.
Yeah, according to popular science, they said that it's not that cut and dry. It's like people are 65% creative and 35% logical. Nobody is 100 and 0, like all left. But I mean, I thought when I read it, I got the impression that nobody really is 100% left-brained, but apparently some people think that. Well, that's not on the scientific community. That's on the dumbasses who, don't know any better.
Yeah, when I was in high school, I took a psychology class where they gave us a test that determined what you were, left or right.
Right, and it's what your tendency is. It seemed like that whole myth thing was there are no absolutes. Everything is tendencies but some of those, when I do Sudoku, I do that number puzzle. You've seen them on my desk. I really thought that I'm like, boy, I'm doing this to improve my memory, and I'm like, well, now it sucks because now
I'm not gonna get dementia because I'm keeping my brain active.
Yeah, and now I'm still gonna get dementia from head injuries and getting beat in the head.
Did you read this Simpsons thing on the bottom?
Yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah.
Did you read it?
No, which one was that?
It says about the myth about alcohol kills brain cells.
Oh yeah, I did on the bottom. Yeah.
What does it say? All right, brain, you don't like me and I don't like you, but let's just do this so I can get back to killing you with beer. Simpsons is great.
Yeah. So like I said, sometimes I bring in the music magazines, but I'm like, I'm gonna try something different, and I'm like, why is this aggravating me so much? I feel like such a dick. All right. Predictions. One of the things that me and you talked about is we have to do predictions from last week. One of the predictions that I actually looked up is my prediction sheet form. Okay, on October 3rd, 2015, we were talking about shootings in urban...
I think that was our first show.
That was our first show. Basically, what was the prediction?
45 murders in Chicago?
Yeah, we said 45 murders due to gun violence in Chicago for October because in September it was some sort of record, 59 deaths. Why did I make it? Because shootings in urban areas, there's always murders in urban areas, and they don't garner attention. Well, what I did is I looked up Chicago Tribune. I tried to do research on there. I had all kinds of problems. I went to the government database. It didn't break it down the way I wanted to. I went to a place, and this was weird. I went to a place that was called HeyJackass.com. Okay, Joe just looked up at me like, HeyJackass.com. It tracks murders in Chicago by the month.
And that's the name of the website?
Yeah, because they talk about all the people where you got shot in the head, shot in the arm. It tracks how many people got shot in the arm versus how many people got shot in the leg, how many people got shot in 2012 versus 1994. I mean, it's insane. And I'm like, so there's a website.
You know what I find funny is like, how do you find these websites? Only you would find a website like that.
Well, I Googled it, and because when I looked it up, they didn't updated for October, right?
Yeah.
So my prediction was 45 people killed in October, and they had 20 out of the 30 days that 23 people were killed. Well, if you track it out by math, it'll end up being about 30 people. So I overguessed it, right? But the point is that they broke it down. They said there's a killing every 17 hours in Chicago for the year 2015. There's a shooting, people don't die, but there's a shooting every 2 hours and 45 minutes in Chicago.
Oh, nice.
And so it's like, so not only was I wasn't exactly right, my number wasn't right, but it was in the ballpark, right?
Yeah.
But there's websites out there that track how many people were shot, how they were shot, if they were killed or not, male, female, where they were shot, and they've been doing this for 20 years. And I'm like, well, who in the hell is going to read this? Like you were joking around, who's going to find this website besides me? Some guy wasn't doing it for their health. There were ads that you could click on and do an ad while you're looking at the Hey Jackass website. I'm like, wow, this is America. I mean, it's not a shock to anybody. The shock is that there was an anomaly that shot up instead of 30 or 40, it shot up to 60.
Yeah.
And then they said, well, it's due to global warming, more people are out. Well, just because it's warm doesn't give you the right to shoot people. What kind of moronic logic is that?
What kind of animals live in that city?
Well, but it's every city, Bernie Sanders this week, and Bernie Sanders said that terrorism, Ted's nodding his head.
I heard that.
Bernie Sanders said this week, terrorism's going up because it's getting hotter in the Middle East and it makes them want to kill us more because it's hotter there.
And they're saying now that they're not going to be able to live there soon because it's going to be too hot.
Yeah, it's going to be too hot in some parts of the Middle East.
And wasn't it already too hot? I mean...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because they have all these extreme temperatures, but it's like Las Vegas. What happens when you put a city in the middle of the effing desert? Well, it's too hot. Las Vegas has been hot for 1,000,000 years. Well, not 1,000,000 years, 1,000 years.
Well, no, now they're going on like a 8-year drought or whatever. It's like, yeah, you live in the desert.
Yeah,
the desert is having a drought. What
Yeah.
a shock.
Gee, who would guess that?
Yeah.
It has to be from global warming.
And
It can't be because it's a desert.
yeah. And I hate to go back to, famous comedians, but Sam Kinison on one of his albums, his famous line is, "You live in an effing desert." It's like, move out of the desert. Well, now all the refugees from Syria are all moving to, Europe.
Yeah.
So, but this has been going on for thousands of years. That's what the Crusades were. The people in Europe push into the Middle East and trying to convert them to Christianity. The people in the Middle East push into Europe and try and convert people into Islam. I mean, this has been going on for thousands of years. Everybody's like all stunned. This is all history repeating itself.
That's why they need to get rid of religion.
Well, there's people in Europe who are saying get rid of religion. And, I talked about this a couple of days ago. The French, they're like, what are we going to do? I'll tell you what, the Germans know what to do with the refugees. You gotta watch out in Germany. They don't mess around in that country.
Why?
You don't want to be a minority in Germany. You're going to wake up on the wrong side of life one day. The right in Germany rises up, and then there's a war. And then they rise up again, and then there's a war. Well, they bring all the immigrants in, and then what'll happen is once unemployment spikes, then the right in Germany will rise up again, and it's like nobody studies history. It's not that long ago.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that Germany shouldn't take in refugees. I'm just saying you're creating a problem that's going to come up 5 or 10 years later. That's the way the Germans are.
Yeah.
You notice none of those, and I've heard this on the radio, and I'm stealing it from somebody, but those refugees are not running off to Russia because they know what happens in Russia, and they're not running to Saudi Arabia because they know what happens in Saudi Arabia. They're trying to get to Europe just like before. We want the high quality of life. What happens when the Europeans get pissed off? They start screaming and killing the minorities. They've been doing it for hundreds of thousands of years. I'm sorry, you guys are nodding your head, but that doesn't help for radio.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hear you.
Well, I also heard that I guess Russia's now going to send like 150,000 troops into Syria.
Oh yeah. Yeah, but it's the same thing. We don't want America in Iraq. Okay, well, we leave. Now they're going to be like, we don't want Russia. In 1979, they didn't. The Afghanistan, they didn't want Russia in there. And then we said, oh, well, Russia did it wrong. We did it exactly the same wrong way that Russia did. We didn't learn anything.
Well, then we supplied them with weapons and shit for them to fight the Russians.
Yep.
Right. So
we were their allies, and then look what they did to us.
Yeah.
They stab us in the back.
Yeah, it's history repeating itself because nobody has any vision. You got a guy from the president, and it all ties back in because the guy running the country, Obama, and I'm not here to bash on Obama, okay?
Obama.
Because I'm not a right-wing fanatic. All I'm saying is he came from Chicago. He didn't fix the problems in Chicago. They're exactly the same that they were. All it did was he said, oh, I care, and he got himself elected by being a community organizer.
Yeah.
And that's what's wrong with America, not Obama per se, but people who don't do any work, who just take credit for things. Well, yeah, he didn't fix the problems in Chicago.
He did Obamacare.
If my father-in-law was here, he'd grab the microphone out of my hand. He'd be like, Obama did lots of horrible things.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's one big disaster.
Well, but that's why I didn't want to, I didn't mean to start with the climbing the mountain thing. But this whole Syria thing, everything with the refugees and the bombing in Paris, everything is so heavy. It's like a darkness, and it almost seems like World War III. It's like, it's the same thing that started World War I, same thing that started World War II. Yeah. Refugees, persecuting the minorities. It seems like it's all starting to percolate again.
Yep.
So no matter the countries don't get together, form one army, go there and just wipe all of them out.
Yeah.
Well, not all of them, but all the, what do you call it?
The terrorists.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Because what happens is,
But nobody gets wrong then. Russia don't like us. We don't like Russia. This country don't like that person.
Yeah.
It's like being in high school all over again.
Yeah. And like I said, it's a great analogy because, people don't have any freedom over there, and at least we have freedom. And again, we're a beacon of speech, blah, 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 from the whole beginning. At least we can talk about it. We have the right to have nobody listen to us, right, Ted Coley?
Mm-hmm. No, actually, you know who Chris Matthews is?
Yeah.
He brought up a good point. He said, all these people coming over from Syria. He said, let the women and children in, but tell the guys, hey, go back and fight for your country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me and Neil, I won't give his
instead of letting them in and then we go over there and fight for their country.
For them.
Well, that's the whole thing. When I was like, oh, you know what, that's just right-wing propaganda. But then I saw the pictures. I'm like, where's the women and the children?
Yeah.
It's all the men coming over.
Yeah, it's like 70% young guys.
And they look younger than me. I'm an old dude now. I got a gray goatee. So.
Give them a gun and send them back. Here's a gun, go fight.
Well, that was the thing.
Yeah.
I was listening to one thing, and they were making a joke because they said that it was either Minnesota or Wisconsin said that they would take some refugees. And they said people are already complaining the weather in Germany is too cold.
Huh.
And so I'm like,
imagine living there.
Yeah, they're not going to want to go to Minnesota or Wisconsin.
It's like -40.
And again, Syria is fairly temperate. Syria is not Iran, and it's not, Saudi Arabia. You know what I mean? The western part of Syria is fairly temperate because it's on the Mediterranean Sea. You know what I mean? From what I understand, it's got I'm trying to say meteorology, but, weather pattern like Italy.
Why don't they just do what Donald Trump says? Build them one big safe zone, and that will be awesome.
We're going to have safe zones everywhere.
We're going to build them one big safe zone, and it will be awesome. That's what he said. Who's going to pay for this thing?
People won't believe it.
Who's going to protect it?
You know what I like about Beacon of Speech is...
Maybe you can make Mexico pay for it.
Yeah, Mexico's going to pay for safe zones, too. That's awesome.
We'll pay Mexico to protect it, and they're going to use that money to build the wall.
when one of the things I like is that when we did our first episode, there were 17 Republican candidates, and Bobby Jindal dropped.
Yeah, yesterday.
So I think what they're down to 12 or 13 candidates.
I don't even know.
So I'm happy. It seems like every episode we lose another Republican candidate. So at least they're trimming the fat on that side.
Is Jed Bush still in?
Yeah, Jeb Bush is in for now. He's too dumb to get out. He still
Yeah.
thinks he's gonna.
I'll pull through.
Yeah, I'll pull through. I've had enough of that Bush. So what else did I have that I wanted to talk?
Look at that car, man.
Oh, I know that. Like I said, I like popular science. All right, no. I'm crossing this out. We talked about that. We were talking predictions, and I was more or less right. Do I get more or less right credit for the Chicago prediction?
Not really. You were kind of off. You were like 15 off.
Yeah, you said 45 and it was 30.
Well, maybe they missed a weekend
You
where
went
there were
over.
a lot
It's
of
like,
killings.
it's like The Price is Right.
Maybe they didn't find half the bodies, right?
Oh yeah, they
Maybe
didn't find.
there's still laying around somewhere.
There's still bodies somewhere. Yeah, I'm gonna say more or less right. I'm not listening to you. That's more or less. I'm giving myself credit. Ted, you made a prediction, but you didn't make it online. But we're on the honor system here.
What's that?
We had to have background checks for our company, which I named on our last episode, which I'll probably name before we leave. And they went through was it the FBI or just the federal government who did our background checks? We had to get interviewed. Who was that lady who interviewed us? Was that FBI or
Homeland.
just Homeland Security?
Homeland Security, I think, yeah.
Homeland Security interviewed me and Ted. Did Homeland Security interview you?
No, because I don't have to do those.
You don't have to
steps.
go there? So Homeland Security interviewed me and Ted said, and he was making a joke, and it was funny, but he turns to me after we had both got interviewed by Homeland Security, and he goes, "Why don't I just give my stuff to the Chinese right now?" And I laughed, because I thought it was hysterical, right? Well, one of the guys at work that we work with say that Homeland Security accidentally disclosed one of our workers' personal information, correct?
It was his wife.
Yeah. They accidentally disclosed his wife's personal information while they were doing the background check. So it's like, Ted was right, but we don't know who got the personal. Do we know if it was Russia or China or whatever?
That I don't know. I think, your information was just compromised.
You need to know. You don't need to know who
Yeah,
compromised.
you don't need to know who it is.
Somebody has your information.
Just
but
know
don't
that
worry.
somebody does.
So if all of a sudden,
It's none of your business who has your information.
yeah, none of your business. That's top secret. But yeah, so the U.S. government botched that, and Ted predicted it. But even though you were making a joke, you were absolutely correct. So I got to give you credit for that. So you get credit. So I'm marking you down for you did that prediction right.
So they actually took like his wife's information.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
nice.
So somewhere his wife's information it's in Chinese, or they know about her health records, or they know where she lives or grew up, or some other obscure thing that you could probably never use anyhow. Well, what's the Chinese and the Russians gonna do with all that information anyhow? I mean, just embarrass us, make us look like dopes.
Make some fake identities. Send some Chinese people over here. And some fake social security numbers.
Thanks, Joe. Joe's very helpful.
I try. Hey, you know what? Look at this. I'm gonna buy this. Not to change the subject.
What are you buying from the Popular Science?
The Roomba vacuum cleaner.
Oh, the
robot
Roomba
vac-
Butler?
Yeah. What do you think about that?
Yeah, when I read about that,
I mean, how lazy can you be where you can't vacuum for a whole 5 minutes?
well, that's the thing. They said that people name their Roombas, and now they think of them as like friends. They want to make a smart Roomba. So you're like, oh, hey, how you doing, Roomba? And it's like Siri, where they're like, do you need me to sweep?
You think they get cheap enough, like drunk hillbillies would be shooting at them, sitting in the living room?
I think that'd be perfect.
Oh yeah.
Shooting at the Roombas.
I mean, how big are those? How much stuff do you think that could hold?
I know. That's what I always
Like, they're
think too.
small.
Oh yeah, they're not
They
that
don't look
big.
They look like bigger than a frisbee.
Do they empty themselves out too?
You know, that's a great question, because I was wondering the same thing, because the Roombas aren't very big, but if it fills up, do they stop working? Do they have a red light? Do you have to change them like 6 times if you got a filthy house?
Do you want me to empty myself into the garbage can?
It might be funny that I would just roll up into the garbage can. You'd have to buy the Roomba garbage can though too, because of course you just couldn't buy any garbage can.
Oh yeah, you'd need one with a ramp.
Yeah, so you'd have to have a special Roomba one that probably climbs up. They should make that. I should patent that for them, right?
You know, what you're saying right now describes why the terrorists hate us. We're talking about
a vacuum cleaner that cleans itself, and you're too lazy to.
You're too
empty it
lazy
out.
to vacuum. People in the Middle East they got dirt floors.
Yes.
They literally cannot use a Roomba.
And then we're complaining because it doesn't empty it itself out. It should empty it out.
I gotta bend over and empty out the
I
Roomba.
gotta go to the garbage can and empty it out.
No, that is funny. That's what I always think too. I'm like, that's really small. How much does that hold?
My buddy, he bought one of those God, it happened like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Maybe 8 years ago. It's a long time since he bought this thing. And it was expensive. And it has a little base. When you turn it on, it goes and it kind of reads the room. And it has a little bumper, so when it hits the wall, it'll turn around and it'll go. And then it'll go until it hits another wall and turn around and it'll go.
Uh-huh.
And then it'll hit another wall, bump off it, turn around and go. So it could do like the same area like for 10 minutes.
So it doesn't do like the whole room. It does like one little square.
Well, it will keep on going. I guess, I don't know if you set a time limit to it, and then eventually it'll go back to its base.
I have to lean over. Hey Ted, if there's a leaf on the floor, do you leave a leaf on the floor to make sure that the Roomba will pick up that leaf?
See if it hits that spot.
If it hits that spot to test the Roomba? Ted knows what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. The audience doesn't. If we had more than... by the way, people are starting to listen. I'll show you afterwards, but there's people actually listening. I don't know who they are, but there's a few people listening.
Well, I've listened to a few.
Well, that's good. So you are our listener.
I listened to two.
Oh, did you listen to
It's
two?
probably all of us.
And we can just keep on listening to it until it builds up a big
Yeah,
huge
until
job.
then it'll build up a couple
Like,
dozen.
hey, look at this thing has like 500 views.
I told Fred that I was going to write a comment on there and pretend to be somebody else that says this show sucks balls.
You guys are really horrible.
Yeah, but at this point I'd probably be so depressed. I'm like, somebody said we suck balls, Ted. We can't do this anymore. All right, Joe. I'm gonna pick on you. Okay.
Go for it.
One of the things I wanted to talk about is football.
Yeah.
Okay. Bernie Kosar came out this week and he said he said it without saying it. He talked about around in a circle. Bernie Kosar said he wants to be president of the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I got to ask you a question. Not whether it's a good idea, bad idea. Okay, because we'll get into that in a minute. No matter what company, whether it's the Cleveland Browns, the Cleveland Cavs, IBM, no matter what, right?
Yeah.
If you put an ad in the paper or online and it says, we're looking for a president, how many people do you think would apply for that job?
Everybody.
I mean, literally, wouldn't you think you would get thousands of people applying for the job of president?
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that Bernie Kosar doesn't deserve it, okay?
Yeah.
That's a moot point. The point of my story is that no matter what company it is, everybody wants to be the president. Everybody wants to be the $1 million guy. Everybody wants the power to hire and fire everybody.
Yeah.
But it's like, how many people, no matter what company it is, get to be president of the company? I don't, even me right now, Joe, you're with us, but I don't walk around saying I'm the president of Beacon of Speech. You know what I mean? And it's like, this whole president thing is rubbing me the wrong way because it's like, how many people want that job?
Can I be president of Beacon of
Now we're gonna. You know what? Maybe we should do an experiment. Who wants to be president of Beacon of Speech and open it up? And that would probably be the only mail we ever got. How much do you pay? Do you pay 6 figures? Do you pay 7 figures? Yeah, we pay 6 figures for Beacon of Speech. We could barely get 4 people in here, let alone pay anybody 6. But the whole point of the president is everybody wants to be president of the company. You know what I mean? And even if I agree that Bernie Kosar should be the president of the Browns, do you, and now we'll specifically go back to Bernie. if you owned the Browns, would you hire Bernie to be the president?
No, what experience? I mean, he has a lot of playing experience. What experience does he have running anything? Look at all his businesses. Didn't he lose all of his money?
Yeah, I
He
think
lost
so.
some of his money. He didn't lose it all. Don't quote me on it, but
what
I
a
think
great job he did with the Gladiators, right?
they
He
won.
lasted what, 2 years in that? Yeah, but
No, the Gladiators are still here.
yeah, but he's not associated with them.
Oh
anymore.
yeah, he's not associated with them because he doesn't care about indoor.
Yeah,
Bernie Kosar, he's one of those guys that is one of
But
those
yeah,
wink, wink, nod, nod things. Because everything I read about Bernie Kosar said that he was really smart, he was really good in business, he was, did a great job, right? And then all of a sudden he's divorcing his wife, and his wife literally wants 50% of everything. She wants 50% of future earnings. She wants 50% of number 19 Enterprise. She wants not only everything they made in the past, but everything into
the future.
future.
She wants to get paid.
Yeah. So after that, then all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, all my businesses are in the tank. I don't have any money. Oh, they're doing experimental treatments on my brain. Oh."
Yeah, 'cause remember you're supposed to open that Bernie Steakhouse too down in the flats or whatever, and that never happened.
Yeah. So I think the truth is somewhere in between. Is he a great businessman or is he a horrible businessman?
You know, it's funny when you say like a divorce. I think right after his divorce, he was at one of the Gladiators thing. It was an indoor practice, and afterwards they were doing all signings, and he was there to sign like stuff too.
Yeah.
Well, when they were presenting the team, he was sneaking out the back door with 2 chicks. And I caught him like, Bernie, hey, can you sign my jersey? He's like, shh, I'm trying to sneak out of here. He's like, hurry, come on, I'll sign it for you. He signed, he turned around, stuck out with these 2 chicks.
Yeah, Bernie's pulling some tail. I guarantee you that.
Good old Bernie. No, I wouldn't hire him as. What do you want? What does he want to be?
He wants to be the president, not the GM. He wants to be the president. He wants to be the face of the Browns.
Why not? What else could it hurt? I mean, look how shitty they are now.
Okay.
How
So
could it hurt?
so you change your mind. You're saying yes.
Yeah, 'cause what would it hurt?
Okay. Ted, what do you say?
I
Would
think
you hire Bernie Kosar?
I would hire him to be president of Beacon of Speech.
That would be kind of cool.
Joe has already asked for that job, and now you're trying to take
you're already trying to demote me.
No, I would give it. I would hire Bernie for president of the Browns.
Can't hurt, right?
Yeah, I mean, what have we got to lose?
Would I hire Bernie? I would consider Bernie. But the other question that I had is why is Bernie coming out to the media saying I want to be president of the Browns? And I keep thinking, why does he ask? Because I don't think they're going to give it to him. Do you think they're going to give it to him?
No, because he has nothing to do with the Browns anymore.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to give it to him. I
He's
think
not
he.
affiliated with the Browns anymore.
No,
Like,
he's
you
not.
don't see him like on the field like
No.
how he used to be.
No.
Maybe Bernie's an amigo.
No, well, this is my theory, and this is what I wrote. This is what I wrote down. I think Bernie thinks there should be a president, and he's throwing his hat in the ring, right? But I think he knows that they're not going to hire one. Like, he's trying to put pressure on them to hire a president. Now, Jimmy Haslam, I think he wants to hire somebody like Peyton Manning as president. I don't think he likes Bernie Kosar. And I also think the Detroit Lions don't have a president. And the Detroit Lions this week, they fired their president, their GM. They literally fired everybody
Clean
this
house,
week.
huh?
They cleaned house.
What's their record?
1-9.
Oh, they're shittier than us.
Yeah, but not by much.
Yeah.
And
just by
I
one game.
I honestly think that Bernie Kosar might be throwing his name out there to be president somewhere. And he wants people to know that he wants to do it for the Browns, but they don't want him.
Probably
You see
wants
what
to
I'm
get back
saying?
in the game. Yeah.
Because everybody says Bernie should be president of the Browns. But I think Bernie's doing it now. Does that make sense or no, Ted? I think he wants to be president of the Browns, but I think he wants people to know that they don't want him. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying.
But I think he wants to be president somewhere, whether he's the president of
Any football team.
yeah, I think he wants to be president of the Lions or president at the University of Miami. What's the athletic director of University of Miami? I think he might want to be.
You know, that would be so typical of Cleveland if Bernie went somewhere else, say to like Detroit,
Yeah.
became president, and they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That's what always happens here.
So
You
like
know?
the Ravens,
Yeah.
Ozzie Newsome.
Well, that's
No,
the
wait,
thing.
who's over there? Who's the GM over there? Is that Ozzie?
Ozzy, I think Ozzy is the GM / president. I think he's got both titles but I keep hearing rumors that Ozzy wants to retire.
Yeah, he has to be up there now.
Yeah, because he's been GM ever since they were in Cleveland.
Yeah.
That's 20 years of being GM.
Yeah.
So you never know, you don't know there has to be some sort of agenda because Bernie seems to be trying to become more media savvy.
Yeah. Trying to get like maybe the pressure out there on them to see what they do.
But you know who I think might be better than Bernie because it's not that I don't want Bernie, but there's no way Jimmy Haslam's going to hire the guy that he fired from preseason announcing. You know what I mean? I think that guy on KNR, Gerard Cherry, would be a good guy.
Yeah.
Do you know who Gerard Cherry is?
No.
Gerard Cherry's on KNR, and I don't know how old he is exactly, but he's got to be 35 to 40, right? And he's on with Rizzo, okay? He was with the Patriots, right? When they won 3 of their Super Bowls, and he
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking
And
about.
he talks like Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
He talks about it's got to be.
He was a player?
Yeah, he was a
Yeah.
player. He was a player when they won 3 Super Bowls. I think
Like
he was a
Philly,
safety.
Played with somebody else, and then
He played with New Orleans,
Yeah.
and he always talks
They were
about
talking about one of the teams were going to trade him to the Browns almost.
yeah. And I remember Gerard Cherry talking. He talks like he would be a good president. He goes, "You have to have dog in you. You have to have attitude." He goes, "It's got to be about football. It's all about winning the locker room. It's all about attitude." I mean, when he talks, he sounds like he's still a New England Patriot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what
Has
they
that attitude.
yeah, and that's what he needs to bring to Cleveland. But like I said, they're probably not smart enough to bring him in either.
Like the whole Cleveland team. You see anybody have an attitude like
No.
that?
No. And so if you said, Fred, who would you hire? I might think of hiring Gerard Cherry.
Yeah.
But I would also talk to Bernie, but you know how that would go,
Like Mike Pettin. You think he actually goes in the locker room and like smacks him around like, come on, we're losing.
No,
Get in
Mike-
the game. Let's do this.
if
what
I
are
hear-
you doing?
I'm sure Mike Pettin speaks up to him, but I'm not sure Mike Pettin's up
He's
there.
not sitting there like screaming in their face.
No, I get the impression he's like, and again, I don't blame Mike Pettin because it's this whole new era of metrics. He's like, you graded out as a 3.8 on your coverage team. You can't be grading out at a 3.8. And you're like, I don't fucking care. I mean, I've been trying not to use the F word. I don't care if I got a 3.8. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and that's what I get the impression. You can't do this. So if you grade out this way or if you turn this way, we can't keep putting you on the field. It's almost like not football. It's almost like a being in school.
Yeah.
And once you get to a professional level, it's got to be some sort of, go rip that other guy's head off.
Yeah. Smash and grab.
Yeah, but I mean, all these guys are professional football players. You think that would be ingrained in them, that they wouldn't need anybody to push them to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, what are you getting paid for? I'm getting
Yeah.
paid to stomp on your neck.
Yeah, but I think as soon as they get that big paycheck,
You don't want to get your neck stomped on. You just want another big paycheck.
yeah, they want to keep on playing. They don't want to get hurt and keep that paycheck coming.
Yeah.
But that's what Gerard Cherry says all the time. He's like, is it about winning? Is it about the culture, or is it about making sure that your paycheck clears?
Yeah.
Making sure you're on the field so your paycheck comes in.
Yeah, we're gonna make one more paycheck. And when you listen to Gerard Cherry, he talks about you can't have a guy like who's that horrible Dwayne Bowe. You can't have Dwayne Bowe hanging around cashing checks and doing literally nothing.
Yeah.
You either got to make him do something or you cut him.
Maybe they start paying them less. Start playing the athletes less and see how their attitude is.
Probably get worse.
I ain't getting paid enough to do that. You weren't doing enough anyways, but we weren't even paying you.
Well, I just know that when I was a teenager, I used to talk to my grandfather about sports all the time. And at some point, my grandfather just said, it doesn't matter, Fred, because all these guys are making millions of dollars. They don't care if they win or lose. You care, Fred, you care more if they win or lose than they care.
Yeah.
Why do you care so much if they win or lose?
No, they don't give a shit because they'll go back to their house and cash their $1 million check and wait for next week so they get their next check.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a lot of it's not just sports. There's a lot of corporations that run that way.
Yeah, my buddy, his cousin, he played in the NFL, and he got in.
You have a friend in the NFL?
My buddy's cousin, and he was all into it. Got into it. He's like, "Yeah, this is gonna be great. I'm blessed." And then after his 4 years, and his 4 years was up with the Titans, his contract was up or whatever. He said, "Screw it." He's like, "You know what? I don't even care about winning." He's like, "I don't got many years left."
Yeah.
He's like, "I'm just gonna go to the team that pays me the most. I don't care if they're shitty. I don't care if we go to the Super Bowl. I don't care if we go to the playoffs. I'm just gonna go to the team that pays me the most and get paid and get out of here while I can."
Yeah.
But then his contract was up with the other team he went with, he had an offer from Cincinnati for like $1 million for 1 year. Where he's like, "You know what? I got enough money in the bank." He's like, "I got good health. I don't have any brain damage." He's like, "I'm not gonna tear my knee again." He's like, "You know what? I'm retiring. Screw it." He's like, "It's not worth it."
Yeah.
And he retired. You believe that?
Was there a happy ending?
No.
Do you still know him?
Oh, I don't know him.
Oh,
I mean, I met him a couple times, but I'm still talking to my buddy. But yeah, he turned down $1 million for 1 year. He said, "Screw it." He's like, "My health is more important than playing football."
That's crazy.
He must have a lot of money to turn down $1 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would turn down $1 million for the NFL because they'd break me in half.
Yeah.
I'm a wuss. I'm not a physical.
I would take it for $1 million. I don't care if I get
Joe,
my leg or
we
whatever.
have to point this out that me and Ted are both in our 40s, but Joe is in his 30s, and he is a physical specimen.
Oh yeah.
He works
Right.
out every other day, right?
No, it's not lately.
Well, yeah, because you have blessings in the oven.
Yeah. Yeah.
But otherwise, you would still be working out every other day.
Every day. I used to go every day. Not anymore. I got too much stuff to do now. Life gets in the way.
Yeah, life gets in the way of working out.
Yeah.
Is that what happened to you, Ted? Did life get in the way of working out?
Laziness got in the way.
All right, next on our thing. As I say every week, Ted Coley, you are our expert on classic rock. I read an article on CNN about Prince, and I wanted to talk to you about it. Okay. Oh, crap, I wanted to show you the video. Make sure I show you the video afterwards. Okay, so you know what I'm talking about.
While my guitar gently weeps.
Yeah, with Prince. It's amazing. And what I couldn't get over is Prince is promoting his new album on CNN. Right? And I'm like, why is he promoting it on CNN? I think he burned so many bridges, like, in the music community. I think that's why he was on CNN. But he was talking about the business model. He said, musicians don't make any money anymore, unless they tour. They can't make money on albums anymore. And he says, and anybody who's stuck on a label, they can't make any money. And he said he was talking about the business model, and he said the business model is, iTunes is still making money. And it's like they pay themselves first, and then they pay the artists. And he says it seems like unless you are Prince, where you can put out your own music and you don't need that many sales, they said when you're young and people don't know who you are, they said it's almost impossible to get started as an artist anymore.
What about who's that one guy, that rapper or whatever? He refused to go on all those labels. Now he makes his own music.
The rapper who makes his own music?
Yeah, what's that guy? The thrift store guy.
Oh, Macklemore?
Yeah, that's his name.
I thought Macklemore had his own label.
Yeah, his own label. I don't think he ever signed with anybody to start off. I think he did it all himself.
Well, that was something else that it wasn't him, but I think it was. Don't make fun of me, but I think Weird Al Yankovic said. He said there's another way you can become a YouTube sensation, and I think Macklemore might have went that route.
Yeah.
But Prince was talking about how. Oh, go ahead.
No.
Oh, I thought you were gonna. Prince was talking about the business model of music, about how everybody's screwed. The guys at the bottom are screwed, and I'm like, wow, that sounds familiar, doesn't it? And he's going on about how he's got a new album, buy his new album, but he doesn't have to sell that many of the album, and I'm like, as much as, and this is where I'm going with this. As much as I like Prince, I never loved Prince. You know what I mean? I am not going out and buying Prince's new album. I don't care. Okay, Joe, I would ask you, but I already know you ain't going out and buying Prince's new
I
album.
don't even know who Prince is.
Shut the hell up. You know who Prince. Do you consider Prince classic rock? If you were formatting your own station, and this is where we're going with the John Gorman book, would you consider Prince classic rock?
Oh man, now you probably have to.
You think so?
I mean, initially I would say no, but he's been around so long that what's that?
I don't know. I just heard
That's
something
me,
beeping.
sorry.
That's why we were all distracted. Whose phone? Is that Joe's phone?
Yeah, sorry.
No, that's fine. Are you in trouble?
No.
It's not somebody saying your show sucks?
No.
It's Prince calling, saying
it's
to
Prince.
cease and desist.
Yeah, stop talking about me.
Prince does not talk that way. He he does not contact you. He contacts his lawyer, and his lawyer contacts your lawyer. But I would definitely consider Prince classic rock, and that's why. And what I wanted to reference, and we'll talk about it later, is Prince. He was in the Rock Hall ceremony, and he did While My Guitar Gently Sleeps, and he did a massive guitar solo when George Harrison was inducted.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. And anybody who thinks that Prince doesn't belong, I'm not saying you say he doesn't belong, but anybody who says he doesn't belong, all they have to do is watch that rock and roll induction ceremony for George Harrison.
Saying he doesn't belong where?
In classic rock or
Yeah.
in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Well, like I said, I mean, initially for some reason I would think, no, he's not really classic rock, but he is. I mean,
I think he is
Yeah.
too. Because and this is one of the things that I want to do, and Ted can either talk me in or
well,
out
I
of.
mean, what's your definition of classic rock? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because when I hear like "Living on a Prayer" by Bon Jovi, it makes me want to bash my head in the wall. But yeah, classic rock has a very loose interpretation of what is classic. See, I was doing a good job of keeping up on this, and then all of a sudden, there we go. But classic rock has a loose interpretation, and I'm like, well, I guess
Yeah, I really wouldn't call Bon Jovi classic rock.
Bon Jovi wasn't even good rock back in the day,
Yeah.
and so, but
Like pop rock. They could be with Backstreet Boys.
yeah, Backstreet Boys and Bon Jovi. That's exactly right. I'm not, like I said, I'm not a Bon Jovi fan. I know I'm in the vast minority. I know when I graduated high school, that was like the prom song. I think it was "Never Say Goodbye" by Bon Jovi, and I wanted to go, impale myself.
Well, you kind of took a shot at Bon Jovi in your movie.
Oh yeah, every chance I get, I take shots at Bon Jovi. But the reason I bring it up is because I want you to look over some of this book, "The Buzzard" by John Gorman.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the sections, I'm reading this article about Prince, and he's talking about how he thought Prince, should be on the rock stations. And I agree with him, but he also said Michael Jackson should be on the rock stations. Well, that's a whole, yeah, Joe's making a funny look at me. And I don't think Michael Jackson should be on. I never liked Michael Jackson, but I have the same problem with Michael Jackson that I have with Bill Cosby. Once you knew Michael... Now, Michael Jackson was never convicted of being a pedophile, but wink, wink, nod, nod, talking around in a circle. Michael Jackson really was.
But if that many people, I mean, you think he would have went to court or something, right?
Oh no, they had all kinds of.
Is that why he has no money? He had no money left because he had to pay
What?
everybody off.
When you pay the people
Well, he
off,
did go to court.
yeah. And there were people on gag orders. They said they can't talk about it because of the monetary exchange.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with Bill Cosby. Even though he's never been convicted, something. And now I can't go back and listen to Bill Cosby albums. You know what I mean?
Have some pudding pops.
Well, that's the whole thing. Bill Cosby. I always loved Bill Cosby. I listened to Bill Cosby until all those allegations came out.
I hated Bill Cosby.
You hated Bill
Glad he was
Cosby?
going down the drain. Yeah, I couldn't stand Bill Cosby.
You didn't watch Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids when you were... Well, what kind of wholesome... Didn't your parents instill cartoons in you?
No, not especially that cartoon. Need a cough button.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I need a cough button. I tried to cover the mic. And again, I apologize because last week I was sick. And like I said, I've been trying not to cough.
Spreading your germs.
Yeah. So I am like patient zero of spreading germs. But the whole
You're
what
like
was the point?
You're like the Charlie Sheen of Beacon of Speech.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for he's all over the paper too. So anyhow, I'm gonna hand you this book. You can read as much or as little of the Buzzard as you
Now, is
like.
this from the library?
Yeah, that's from the library. So you have
So
2 weeks, or else
Oh, okay.
you're gonna make me pay a fine.
Pay that 5-cent late fee.
Yeah, the fine. You owe me 15 cents, Ted Coley.
I went to the library once. I went to go check out a book.
You went to a library once.
Yeah, well, I had to go a couple times.
Dude.
'Cause the last time I went, I checked out a book. I had a late fee of like $50.
Holy
wow.
cow!
I'm like, she's like, you never returned this book, so we're charging you for it. I'm like, really? I don't even remember renting at least or whatever.
There's another Seinfeld reference. Remember that episode?
Oh yeah,
Which
with
one?
George.
Oh yeah.
Was it George who
I
didn't check out
think
the
it was,
book? Or was it Jerry?
Jerry.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they had the post, no, whatever, the librarian police guy.
Yeah, the
whatever,
guy's
come
name was
after him.
Bookman.
Yeah. That was funny. That's always goes back to Seinfeld.
It all goes back to Seinfeld. Yeah, and Ted says that all the time.
What did I say earlier with the Kramer line? Oh, these pretzels are making me thirsty.
Yeah,
Because
you
I
did
brought
say
pretzels for lunch, and I kept on saying to Fred, "These pretzels are making me thirsty." I said it like 3 times, and Fred's like, "Why don't you just go get something to drink, then?" I'm like, "No, it's a Seinfeld line."
I would have gotten that.
that.
Yeah, they always say it's a show about nothing, but it's a show about everything.
Yep. I like that show. You know what pissed me off? Is on Channel 8, it used to be on for like an hour and a half at night. From like 11 to like
Yeah.
12:30.
Yeah.
And now it's only on at like, I think like 12:30 and that's it.
It'll be back. It'll be back on.
But I know it's on all the time during the day, but that's the time I used to sit on the couch
One
and
of-
watch Seinfeld.
One of the stations, don't quote me on it, but I want to say it's AT&T Uverse streaming or one of the services has all Seinfelds.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Crackle. No, Crackle has that Comedians in Cars. One of the services has all the Seinfeld episodes on demand.
Yeah.
So, yeah, are we grounding the show back to a halt? Ted's looking at the thing.
Nah, just
All right, let's go to sports because we'll go back to the Buzzard book, because I want to talk a little bit more about John Gorman. But I had to bring up the Prince thing because I don't know. I got 1999 at home. My friend was making fun of me this week. I was talking about a punk band called the Dillinger Four from Minnesota, and I said Dillinger Four always reminds me of living in Minnesota. And he goes, "Oh, doesn't Purple Rain remind you of living in Minnesota?"
Prince is from Minnesota, isn't
Prince
he?
is from
Yeah.
Minnesota, and they showed the Paisley Park Studios, and they look like any other, building. It does. It's not all purple, or it just looks like a studio. So I was surprised by that. But he said, "I don't live at the studios." And like I said, I have a lot of respect for. If you think of a musician, somebody who's like a musician
Oh, yeah,
through and
he's-
through, I think of Prince.
Oh yeah, he's good.
And like I said, even if some of the stuff's not up my alley, I still respect them.
Another funny thing about him is that he doesn't seem to age.
No.
You know?
No, some people, like Steven Tyler, who looks like someone's old grandma, because he
Yeah.
did all the drugs and stuff. Prince looks good. He looked like he at least tried to take care of himself a little bit. Joe's looking at me like I'm not taking care. Yeah, I know. I got the old goatee and my hair. I took off my hat because it was uncomfortable. My hair's 8 different directions.
Just shave your head like I do.
Aren't you afraid if you shave your head it won't come back though?
No, it's not coming back.
All right, let's knock off a few more things before I forget. I had another prediction, and it moves us right into sports. 2 weeks ago, we said, "Will the Browns beat the Steelers?" Right? You remember that prediction?
Yeah, I do. Because Ted said they were going to win, and Johnny Manziel was going to go out and get drunk and get a DUI or something.
Yeah.
I thought that was against Cincinnati.
Oh, was it against Cincinnati?
Yeah. 'cause-
Oh, okay. It says, it was against Cincinnati. Okay, because I wrote it down. You had the Browns would beat
Yeah.
Cincinnati, right? And then you said by the Steelers game, Johnny would get in trouble with substance abuse,
Yeah.
which he did. He did get in trouble with substance abuse. Remember, because he went back to the A&M. He went back to A&M. He had the bottle in his hand, and he was taking pictures with the co-eds.
Yeah.
So you were half right. You could tell he was partying back at A&M after he lost to Cincinnati. I said that they were going to lose 52-10, and they lost, what, 31-10?
Something like
And I said Johnny Manziel would get a concussion. Okay? So I was half right. He didn't get a concussion, but he got in trouble for drinking. Now, since we made that prediction, because it was made for last week and then I was sick, right? You were half right, because he did get into trouble. It was on the sports station. He shouldn't be going back to A&M and drinking, blah, 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 blah. And the same thing with, I knew they were going to lose, but at least he didn't get hurt.
Yeah.
Right? And since then, they named Johnny Manziel the starter for the rest of the year. So, 4 predictions. We're going to follow up this prediction, okay?
What was mine?
Oh, your prediction was LeBron will play because Johnny
yeah.
Manziel got it.
That's stupid.
That one did not come true. So we're going to follow up that prediction since we're talking Browns today. They said Johnny Manziel is going to be starter for the last 6 games. Okay, I'll go first. Johnny Manziel, I'm writing it down. Johnny Manziel, next 6 games, 6-game starter. My prediction is Johnny Manziel will go 1-1. 1 win, 1 loss. Season-ending injury. He'll blow out his knee or he'll get 4 concussions. 1-1 with a season-ending injury. And I'm writing that down. Okay, what's your prediction for 6 games for Johnny Manziel?
What do you mean? How
And you can't put in. Yeah. How do you think he's going to do, and how many he's
I
going
don't
to
think
win?
they're going to win any more games.
So you think they're going to go 0-6 the rest of the way out?
Yep.
0-6.
So shitty. I think he'll be running for his life so many times that he'll eventually rip something. He'll tear something.
Okay. 0-6 with minor injury.
Yeah. Or
And-
he'll get hit so many times because that offensive line's so shitty.
They got 2 All-Pros on that line.
Oh, yeah. Look how good they've been playing.
What's your prediction, Ted?
I say 3-3.
3-3. You have faith in Johnny You have more faith in Johnny Manziel.
I thought he looked pretty good against Pittsburgh.
I thought he looked pretty good too. But again, you blinked, they were losing 24-3, and then the other team kind of took their foot off the throttle, and then, you know.
Roethlisberger came in injured.
Yeah, Roethlisberger came in
and he
injured.
threw like 400-something yards.
Yeah. And when you're winning 24-3, you'll let him throw 8-yard passes all day. 8-yard pass, 8-yard pass. But you're right, he could have looked horrible. He could have thrown. I remember Brady Quinn coming out and he had these giant muscles, and he would throw a screen and it would hit the running back in the foot. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh my God, you got to be the worst quarterback I've ever seen in my whole life. And I'm like, you learn when you're 10 years old, when you make a pass in basketball, you pass it to someone's chest. When you play football, you throw it to their hands. When you play soccer, you pass the ball to them in front of their feet. You don't throw it at their feet or over their head. I mean, it was like Brady Quinn never learned anything.
Yeah.
Like he forgot everything had fallen out of his head.
Well, he didn't play that bad at Notre Dame, though.
I have no comment there. Today we're making this is 11/18, and when does the season end? January 1.
I don't know, man.
We'll go January 10th. January 10th, 2016, date May 2016. I am folding this up, and if there was I would spit on it and I would curse the day that we made this, because nobody says he's going to go 6-0. No. Nobody says he's going to light the world on fire.
Are we going to make it to January?
Ted, are we going to make it to Ted? Yeah. Ted doesn't believe we're going to make it 3 years. Is Beacon of Speech going to make it to January? Maybe Johnny Manziel could sit in the locker room and make fun of Beacon of Speech. He'll be like, you think those guys will still be on in 2 weeks? And they all could bet on us. I'll be like, well, that sucks. So we'll put 1-10-16. I think that's safe. So let's put that.
You'll think he'll beat up his girlfriend by the end of the year again?
Oh, I think he got rid of her.
Throw her out of the car.
I honestly think.
When he went back to Texas, he dropped her off.
I think when he went back to Texas and he was taking pictures with those girls, I think that girl is gone.
Yeah.
Or if she's not gone, he's like, oh, honey, I'm just going to visit my brother. And he was hooking up every night. So if she's not out of the picture, she's getting shoved out of the picture. Let's go over one or two quick sports things besides the Browns. I said we were going to talk about the Browns. We were talking about the Browns like last 3 weeks. So let's talk about a few of the other things. CSU won. They won their first game of the year. CSU basketball. That's the team we adopted. Cleveland State. Swansea City. They're actually starting to lose. They're dropping in the Premier League. We'll talk more about them later because I want to talk about Swansea City.
Who the hell is Swansea City?
Swansea. We adopted a team from the Premier League.
From the what league?
The Premier League in
What
soccer.
is that? Oh
It's in
my
England.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys can talk about that.
We were well the whole
read popular science.
Joe's good. You don't believe in soccer as a world sport?
No.
Columbus, they've actually climbed out of the basement. They're like tied for last. And they're actually better than some of the teams in the West. They've been playing better. But they're not that. Say the season ended today, they're only a few games out of a playoff spot. So they're not doing as horrible as they were before.
I also wanted to make another prediction, although I think that this is not really going to be, going out on a limb.
Okay, well, let me grab the prediction sheets. Wait a second. Because I did not. I have prediction sheets. I didn't make any because I was distracted when I should have been making them. I think I was coughing a lung out. And I apologize to the listener because I've been trying not to cough. Okay, Ted's prediction. Dun, 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 dun.
Like I said, this isn't really, going out on a limb, but I think that Peyton Manning is done.
Oh, yeah.
No, he's done. Okay, we're going to say...
He's going to retire.
Okay. Do you think he's going to be president of the Browns?
Denver. Oh, no.
Well, no, they have
Elway.
a president. They got Elway.
Yeah, that's right.
There's rumors that he wants to be the athletic director at Tennessee. Not the Titans,
so
but
we're gonna go back to
the
he's
college.
from Tennessee.
Who, Peyton?
yeah.
Him and what's his face? Hey, maybe Jimmy Haslam will hire Peyton.
Well, that's what we
They're
said.
buddies. Oh yeah, we did say that.
So
My bad.
maybe they will. But do you think he will?
Maybe they're buddies.
Prediction sheet form.
I think Peyton's too smart to come here.
Peyton is too smart to come here.
Pay somebody enough money, they'll come.
Smart to come. Okay, now we're gonna push this off. Prediction: Peyton is done. Okay, Peyton is done, and that's made by Ted Coley. TK.
Well, I told you it wasn't,
I think Josh McCown will be done too.
You think Josh McCown's done? No, Josh McCown's still got another year on his contract.
Does he really?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I think he's gonna come back next year and hold a clipboard for $2 million. Would you hold a clipboard for $2 million a year?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I think he's back. Peyton is
I'd
done.
watch the uniforms for $2 million.
I think he's done too. I agree, but I'm going to take one step farther. I think that Peyton Manning is not going to do anything for a year. I think he's going to make commercials, and I think he's going to be like a consultant. You give him $100,000, and he'll show up and he'll do a commercial for your product.
Who's that?
Peyton Manning.
He'll be too busy making his pizzas at Papa John's.
Yeah, or he'll be making him and Papa John will be on the world tour. So I agree, but I'm going to add the caveat. He's not taking within a year. He's not taking a president job. No job, except pitchman for whoever. Okay, date prediction was made today is the 18th. And we'll go 9 months on this one because we'll know, Brett Favre every year they're like, I retired, and then he'll be like, oh, Denver needs me, I'm unretiring. So we'll do this the training camp. So July, August, let's go August 1st and see if he stayed retired because lots of people retire and they don't stay retired. So we'll go August 1st because we'll know if he's coming back by then.
He'll be done.
Peyton is done. TK, Joe K, I agree, but I'm going to say that he's going to be making commercials. There's no way he's taking that Browns job. I agree with you. Peyton is too smart to come to Browns, and we're going to put that to TK too. Ted Coley.
But Bernie's not too smart to come.
No, Bernie's. I'm telling you, Bernie wants this job, and I honestly believe that he wants them to say no so he can take another job. And it's not. I don't know.
I don't think he would just to say no. I think he'd take any job.
I think he
wants to
would.
get back into football.
I think he wants any job, like you said, but this is his dream. If he can pick the job, he wants president of the Browns.
Well,
If they
I would
tell
want
him
the
no,
presidents of the Browns too. I mean, if I go on Fox 8 and say that shit, who wouldn't want that job?
yeah. So, but that goes back to the being the president of anything, and if you want to be president of Beacon of Speech,
That's right. What am I talking about? President of Beacon of Speech.
we better be nice to Joe. You know what? That reminds me and I know we're running out of time because I try to cut around 1:20, but Steve Jobs. Did you watch the
No.
Steve Jobs movie with Ashton Kutcher? One of the things I knew some about Steve Jobs, but I'm not one of, and I have an Apple. I got an Apple computer.
Yeah.
We do the show on an Apple MacBook Pro every week, and but one of the things I did not know about Steve Jobs is I knew he founded the company, but I didn't know the president of Pepsi. He hired the guy from Pepsi to come in, and then they fired Steve Jobs from his own company.
Yeah.
Right? Did you know that, Ted?
No.
Yeah, they said you were not liking the way you're taking the company or something. We're firing you.
Yeah,
The board kicked his ass
The
out
board fired Steve Jobs
from his own company that he created.
Yeah, and he was indignant, and I would be too. But it just reminds me of Joe Coffin. We got to be nice because if he's the president, he could be like, well, you know what? I like the idea of Beacon of Speech, but I really don't really like Fred or
So I'm
Ted.
taking your computer and your
Maybe-
your headphones
Yeah,
and I'm
I'm
firing you too.
I'm gonna get these other two guys.
Your computer and your $25 headphones.
Yeah, I'm
We're-
gonna take your equipment and fire you guys.
He's gonna take over Beacon of Speech, and it'll be like that season of Dukes of Hazzard where Bo and Luke weren't on there because of the contract dispute.
They switched actors for a minute.
I would be like, I'm gonna have a different show called Light of Speech.
Now, why did they have two Steve Jobs movies? Was the first one so shitty that they had to make another one?
There was a documentary which was supposedly good. There was the fictional Jobs movie that I guess took a lot of liberties, and they said it kind of softened Steve Jobs up. And then I guess there's another Jobs movie that's supposed to show what a ruthless businessman he
it's
was.
coming out soon, right?
And
That
that's
one?
coming out soon because
I heard- Oh,
Go
sorry,
ahead.
Go ahead.
no, they said the one with Ashton Kutcher made him too soft.
Yeah.
He was a harder character.
Yeah, that's what you get. You don't get that way in life if you're not.
No, you don't start in the
hard.
garage and then own
Ass.
Apple by being, I'm everybody's friend.
Yeah,
And
I'm Mr. Nice Guy.
and then even in the Ashton Kutcher movie, they hinted that he screwed a couple of his friends.
Yeah.
Oh, but that's the way business is. Well, I think they want to take it to the nth level for the next one.
Like that dude from Facebook.
Yeah,
Screw those dudes.
I think that guy was. I think he screwed everybody he could.
Yeah. But I didn't
Allegedly.
Steve Jobs had like a daughter and he didn't like recognize her or whatever. Did you know that?
Who? Steve Jobs?
Yeah. Like
They-
one
they-
kid.
Yeah, they kind of talked about it in the Jobs movie, but that wasn't given a lot of time either.
Steve Jobs.
I'm sorry, how did we even get to Steve Jobs? Where were we going that we got to Steve Jobs?
I don't know. We've been going off on tangents.
Yeah, I've been having, and I don't blame you guys, I blame myself, because when I was sick, I could not focus on anything, and I feel horrible that we had to cancel last week. Because you don't want to get in the habit of canceling. I've been trying to do it every week, but like I said, the voice was gone, I couldn't focus, I was coughing, and I don't even know if I could have done it on Monday, let alone last week. So, like I said, I appreciate both you guys doing it today. I thank you, Joe, and I thank you, Ted, both for having patience and waiting for my voice to come back. Yeah, you guys are probably frowning. You're like, oh, we could have kicked Fred off this week if he didn't have a voice. It could have been us two. See, Joe's already angling to be the president and take over.
That's right.
And my movie's in here, so you can't have that computer. I know that's what he's looking for.
Did you get my comment on the movie?
No.
No? Where does that email go to? The
Well-
email for the movie website.
The email for the movie website?
Yeah.
Unless, you know what? Jan might have got that.
Oh, okay.
I have to ask her.
I'm going to email her back like, Jane, you suck.
She's going to be happy. All right. Since we're tying things up, we'll tie things up because I'm so unfocused right now. First of all, what do we want to promote? In 2011, I wrote a book. My name is Fred Hunt. The name of the book was American Suicide. Last year, I did a movie. It's called Blasphemers. You can go watch it for free at blasphemersthemovie.com. It's up for 1 year. And there's swearing, but there's no nudity and very little violence. Joe's a star, Ted's a star, I'm a star.
Superstar.
I used to write for a place called top10s.net. They fired me unceremoniously, and I cry about it every chance I get. And Ted, what do you want to promote? Do you want to promote anything?
No.
No.
I have nothing going on.
Song of the day. I'm saving this for very last. I want to make a dedication to my son, and this will be our last topic. The song is called "Come Up with Your Hands Out." It's a song by Alice Donut. Neither one of you have ever heard it before. It's a story song. It's all about a lady who goes crazy and she takes a frying pan and she beats her husband's skull into the table until it's a pile of mush. And there is no song structure to it. It's a guy telling a story.
That's funny.
A story about the woman who killed her husband. Right? Well, why am I dedicating that song for? I'm dedicating that song to my son because since the last webcast, there was a murder 14 houses down from my house in North Ridgeville.
There wasn't there?
Yes.
Yeah, all right. Was that close to your house?
Yeah, 14 houses down.
Wow.
Because we counted. And the reason is my son, he's only a kid. He goes, wow, there's murders in North Ridgeville. He goes, do we have to move? Are we unsafe?
Like, that's right, kid. Watch your back.
Watch your back. Don't walk down the street. No, I don't want to scare him because he's little. He's a little kid. And I said, no. I said, it's not a big deal.
It's not like it's Garfield.
Yeah, it's not like it's Garfield. And I told him, I said, listen, you have to worry about like in Cleveland where there's drug murders and random murders. But this murder was just a guy killing his wife.
It's just a misunderstanding.
That's how you put it. It's just a guy killing his wife.
And so,
no big deal.
And so this is the society that we're living in that I got to explain to my kid that it's just a guy killing his wife. And, the guy was 70. The wife was like 65. And the grandkid, and I told Joe, I don't know if I told you or not, but, the guy got mad and he killed his wife. He just came and shot her. And then he called the police. He's like, yeah, I killed my wife. She's on the floor. She's on the kitchen floor.
Where was the grandkid?
Crying in the background.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, that kid will be fine.
Yeah.
That kid's going to have a good upbringing.
So, but we used to have to walk right by that house to get to his elementary school. And we only live like a half a mile from the elementary school. So it's like I'm trying to explain it to him so he's not afraid, but and it's just a hard conversation to have with your kid.
Yeah.
About a murder at the end of the street.
Killing his wife.
Yeah.
So he's like, Daddy, are you going to kill Mommy?
Yeah. Daddy, are you going to kill Mommy? Not yet. Oh, I was joking around with my parents because I told them, I said, yeah, I had to explain to Alex I'm not going to kill, Mommy because we've only been married for 12 years. That guy was married to his wife for 40 years. It takes 30 or 40 years to want to kill your wife.
Yeah.
And my dad laughed. But I was like, I'm teasing. I didn't really say that to my kid.
I got a question for you guys.
Yeah.
Now, I assume that guy's going to jail.
No, I would not assume that. Well, let me rephrase that. You assume he's going to jail, and I assume he's going to jail. But his defense was...
Crazy?
No, his defense was she got mad at him and came at him with a knife, so he went and grabbed the gun and just shot her.
He had time enough to run to wherever he had to go to get his gun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So there,
I gotta remember that one.
there's already holes all over that story, and we have a neighbor. He lives he's about 5 houses down, and he's a neighborhood busybody, and he's on his little motor scooter.
The one that
right?
complains about the sidewalk.
Yeah, the one who keeps calling cops that I don't shovel my sidewalk. So he actually knew him, and he said that the guy's been mad at the world for 30 years, and he said that the wife came at him again just so, he wouldn't have to go to jail. But that's his defense. I mean, I don't know how much... They live in North Ridgeville, so it's not like they can afford a good lawyer, right? So, but I mean, if you get the right lawyer and say, she came at me with a knife, well, she's 65. How fast is she coming at you with a knife? Well, he could be like, well, she's more spry than I am,
Yeah.
So you assume he's going to jail, but I mean, he didn't like run away. You know what I mean? He called the North Ridgeville police and said, "Hey, here I am. I killed my wife. Come and get me." You know what I mean? She came at me with a knife. What are you gonna do?
Was he gonna stick the body in the backyard somewhere?
But you never know. You never know what people think. So he could be like, "Well, she came at me with a knife, so I shot her. Let me go home." And they're like, "Sir, it's not." You never know what people are
should
thinking.
have said that in the 911 call. Hey, my wife was attacking me and I shot her.
Yeah, but he said that she was a nice lady, and if she came at him with a knife, and again, this is secondhand hearsay, but that she was a nice lady, and if she came at him with a knife, it was because for 40 years she listened to him bitch. So that's why I dedicate that song to my son, because it can happen anywhere. It can happen.
What was the name of that song?
The name of the song is "Come Up With Your Hands Out," and it's by Alice Donut. I'm going to let Ted listen to it, because after we're done, I got to show you the Prince thing too.
And what's it about? Something with a frying pan?
The woman had been married to this guy for 30 years, and it's in the story of the song, and the guy's just telling a story about this woman. And she's like, "One day I just had enough, and I just smashed him in the head with a frying pan again and again and again. And it was 47 times. 47 times I smacked him in the head with a frying pan until there was a greasy stain on the table." And that's the song. It's a story. It's hilarious.
I got a story about a frying pan.
You have a story about a frying pan?
So I get beaten with a frying pan, yeah. That's what made me ask you about that story.
Well, what happened with a frying pan with you?
Well, my mom, when we were bad, she used to, find something to beat us with. And then, of course, then she would tell her dad, and my dad come home, he'd beat us afterwards. So, anyways, my brother was pissing my mom off. And so I guess we were in the kitchen. Yeah, we were in the kitchen. She grabbed the frying pan. Nothing was on the frying pan. The stove wasn't on or anything. It was just sitting on top of the kitchen. First thing she saw. She grabbed it. Hit my brother in the back of the head because my brother turned around. Hit him in the back of the head so hard with the frying pan. The frying pan flew across the room, and she still had the handle in her hand. And then she says after that, "Wait till your father gets home."
There is
bad enough you beat me with the frying pan.
There is no way I can top that story. That's Ted Coley.
No, but the question I was going to ask you guys is, okay, say that guy goes to jail, and then that house goes up for sale.
Yeah.
Would you buy a house that you knew that happened?
Well, you're looking for houses.
Yeah, I need a house.
Would you buy the shooter's house at the end of my street?
Yeah, I don't care. Care if somebody died in it, right?
My wife would. If she was here, she'd say absolutely not.
Say I wouldn't either. Not somebody who got murdered.
Yeah.
Like if somebody just died of natural causes, I don't think that would.
Yeah, because that's like every house in Parma, because everybody is old there. Yeah.
Well, what about you?
I think the people in our house, they built it and then they moved away.
But no, would you buy a house if somebody got murdered in?
No.
You wouldn't?
No, because I never think about it because my wife would not let us. So it's like, it's a moot point. If it was the right price, I might. If it was a nice house.
You think it'd go up for cheap?
If it was a nice house going up for cheap, I might. But then my wife would be like, "I'm not going to live there."
Don't they have to disclose that to you too?
My wife, because we talked about it with when this happened, she goes, they have to disclose because it's public record.
That and like any fire damage
Yeah.
and flooding damage.
Yeah, they have to disclose there was a murder in the house, and that's why it's for sale. But like I said, maybe he thinks he's going to get off.
Would you think he'd go back to that house and live there?
From what I understand from the neighbor, he would.
Yeah.
That he'd be like, well, why wouldn't I go back? I'm the one who does all the work at the
Would it be
house.
funny if he came back and he was just like,
Hey
guys, hey neighbors.
What if I'm afraid he would come back? Hey, Mr. Hunt. Oh.
Hey, come on over. I'm having a barbecue this weekend.
My son is crying, Daddy, I don't want to walk by the scary house.
Isn't that the murderer? Why is he out in the street? Is he going to murder us?
I do remember hearing about that, and I wondered how close that was to you.
Yeah.
That's pretty close. God.
Yeah, it's down. What happens? You go down our street, and then you take a right to get to the main street.
Yeah.
And it's that street right there.
Yeah.
It's that side street that you turn off of. And like I said, it's 14 houses down because we counted. So.
Yeah, but talking about that, would you buy a house that you knew, somebody was murdered? It's like somebody like my stepdad.
Uh-huh.
That wouldn't bother him at all. I don't think. I think he would set up his chair like in the chalk outline.
He would keep it like a chalk outline and put a frame around it.
Yeah.
Your dad is that shit.
No, it's like some people, they don't, stuff like that doesn't bother them. Like, well, it's a big deal, It's like,
Yeah, I wouldn't care. Especially you got it at a good price because of that.
For the record, maybe I should make a prediction. I'll make a prediction that that guy's going to jail. He's not getting off. He's not gonna. My wife came at me with a knife. That's not gonna work.
you said she was what, 65?
I think they said he was 70 and she was 65.
I just pictured her like, using a walker.
Stop running from me!
Yeah, don't run from me. It's only gonna make it worse. And she's making the stabbing motion in the air.
Maybe she was on her scooter and she was like, they were jousting.
All right, but like I said, I'm going to start coughing more. That's Ted Coley. That's Joe Coffin. I'm Fred Hunt. I thank you very much for listening. I thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
Hopefully, next week, no more coughs, no more being off my game. I thank you both again.